and the lawful, honest Hispanic people in Arizona wouldn't feel threatened by it. Instead, politicians in Washington did absolutely nothing, as if they wanted to play some sick game of hateful manipulation, to polarize the country, prejudice the vote, and poison the political system just so they can protect their jobs. The consequences of that corruption and contempt of the rule of law is this. While terrorized residents throw their deadbolts, draw their blinds, and pray not to have their homes invaded or their kids kidnapped in Arizona, in Washington, D.C., the ruling elite bask in the safety of 24-hour security and scream with outrage at Arizona's law, all because they insist upon playing political games with our lives. Ladies and gentlemen, that's contemptible. It's life-threatening, and it's got to stop now. You know, the American people used to look at politicians almost like some kind of Jay Leno joke. You'd sort of shrug and you'd say, hey, you know those politicians. We never really expected them to tell the truth anyway. But now, it's not just cynical, it's sinister. What's going on is a combination of political dishonesty to advance an agenda and media dishonesty to promote an agenda. They're linking together, feeding each other, and having a destructive effect on our entire system of governance in our country. Now, immigration might not be our issue, but the crisis on our southern border is a perfect illustration of the same dishonesty and corruption that have infected the gun debate for decades, and the consequences of the ruling class refusing to do anything to contain that crisis ultimately endangers your right to keep and bear arms. Because you, all of you sitting here this morning, you know exactly where it leads. Whether it's laws against armed violent crime, illegal immigration, or anything else, the consequences of selective enforcement are always the same. Bad guys get a pass, and good guys like you get it in the chest. When violent crime explodes as a result of their own refusal to enforce the law, those same politicians attack your Second Amendment right to protect yourself. That's morally wrong, that's destructive to society, and it's got to stop now. Ladies and gentlemen, we've all seen politicians abuse the law before. What's different and what's so dangerous today is it's feeding what could grow into a firestorm of criminal violence more devastating than anything ever seen in this country, because every ingredient is already there. Right now, and these are government figures I'm going to talk about, we have over 20,000 criminal gangs with over 1 million members active throughout the United States. Mexico's drug cartels are operating in at least 230 U.S. cities, and at least 30 cities are so-called sanctuary cities, where local government, the officials there, refuse to enforce the law on immigration. And the gangs operate openly. One sanctuary city is Albany, the capital of New York State. It's the East Coast epicenter of the kind of dishonest debate, abuse of the rule of law, and abandonment of the people that I've been telling you about this morning. If you want to see where it leads and what it costs the honest, lawful people like you, watch this video showing what life is like and what life is worth in Albany today. Look at this for just a minute.
Drugs, gun, killing.
Gun laws mean absolutely nothing.
These gangs know they can beat the system.
They don't prosecute, they make deals.
Coming right back out in the street, and they can go get illegal guns like that.
It's easier to get your hands off any guns. The law doesn't make any difference.
It looks good from the outside while the patient's bleeding to death on the inside.
The more you disarm the public, the better off the gangs and the criminals are.
They're masters of manipulating the system, and the system does not meet the challenge.
Albany, the state capital of New York, where lawmakers in their gilded and guarded chambers pass countless gun laws. But just blocks away, many of those laws have already been broken by drug dealers and rival gangs.
This is like a third world nation. It's survival down here.
You don't know where stray bullets coming from. Right across the street from my house is a dead body laying in the alley over there.
We've had gunshots fired over our heads as we come in the building in the morning. This is life as we know it. Come on in.
Dr. Bob Peglow runs a healthcare clinic in West Hill, one of the most crime-ridden neighborhoods, where violence is getting worse and gang members are getting younger.
There's a 10-year-old boy who came in here who'd been shot. 10-year-old arrested 4 times. I can't even imagine that.
They don't respect life at all. It's all about money and drugs. Who can get their hands on what faster?
A tragic reality.
Turn around and start walking.
If these kids don't value their own life, they're not going to value any gun law.
It's a joke because you can put the gun laws to the maximum and they can still get guns. It's like a powerhouse. You can't stop them.
Expensive?
Very cheap. I spend sometimes like $100. Some gun I buy for $50.
How many of these guys around here have a legal gun?
I'm gonna go with 0.
No, no gang will go to any store. Just get them off the street.
The percentage of illegal guns versus legal guns, it'd have to be 99.999 illegal, 0.001 legal. It's always illegal guns.
So what will work? Prosecuting criminals so they can't beat the system.
There are politicians and prosecutors out there who tell officers don't make arrests because we can't fit any more inmates. Do you think the people in those communities would like to know that they're purposely not arresting people? That's horrendous.
Let's mandate sentences. Let's put people in jail. Right now, they're not afraid.
But no one is surprised. These hollowed halls of government are so deeply rooted in corruption, the citizens don't trust their politicians.
They want your vote. They get what they want, and then the hell with you.
Politicians are more worried about agendas than the truth.
I'm really scared about my Second Amendment, especially in this state. My message to the people is wise up.
We're headed to a very dark place because I believe as these people go, so goes America.
It scares the hell out of me. I feel sorry for my kids and my grandkids if this is the direction this country's going in. I don't want anybody messing with our Constitution.
Albany is what the future looks like for every American city in this country if our political class continue to indulge in the selective or non-enforcement of our laws and the selective or non-existent protection of our rights. Today, in states from coast to coast, as we sit here this morning, cynical politicians continue to push the cheap and dishonest answers of gun bans, while refusing to let the existing laws that we already have on the books carry any force. So what they do is they try to disarm honest people like you, and then they pretend that they're fighting crime, while they set convicted criminals loose and back on the streets. That's exactly what they're doing in New York State. In 2008, New York State cut its prison population by more than any other state in the country. Yet even before they did, it was clear that the criminals simply laughed at their laws. In 2007, New York State, and just listen to this, had more released inmates commit more crimes and go back to prison, almost 12,000 of them, than any other state, except, and I bet you can guess what I'm going to say, California.